Namaskar. Hello and welcome to 𝗞𝗏𝗄𝗏's channel. I'm your host Sree. Joining me as always is Sridhar Chittialaji. We have a lot of breaking news. Small request to all of you to like this video, and now let's welcome Sridhar Chittialaji. Sridharji, Namaskar and welcome to 𝗞𝗏𝗄𝗏's channel. How are you, sir?
Very well, and glad to see you. And yes, there's plenty happening as we try to finish Sunday, or as we move into Sunday, depending on which part of the time zone we are. On to Sree.
Thank you so much, sir. We have a big slide deck, about 15 slides, and these are a lot of, it's information packed. So please stay with us till the very end, because you're going to get some different perspectives about the bailout from application of France and so on and so forth from Sridharji. So there is more information here than you probably will get anywhere in the media. Let's jump right in, sir. Over to you.
Great. Okay, so I think that we start with India and the tariffs. There's no resolution as yet as we speak on the tariffs, but the economic affairs cabinet economic affairs advisor, chief economic advisor, has hinted that Anantha Nageshwaran has hinted that there is probably a resolution coming very soon that was backed by Scott Bessant. So we'll talk about that as we move forward. Then the other important news is that Indian economy is not dead. It is bursting through the seams, and the last quarter the numbers were around 7.8%. So therefore, which is a very healthy number, and that shows that it may be, we'll have to see for 2 more quarters. But based on the numbers, it does sound very positive, and IMF has actually even upped. The reason why I use IMF is the Indian banks or Indian local, even the RBI, if one thinks it's biased, if IMF one thinks is not biased, then, there's a kind of corroboration out of that. Then the other important news that we need to talk about, which has made waves in the social media, is around, we'll get to this in a minute once we finish the summary. So the other thing that we will have is Peter Navarro shooting off his mouth and putting Modi's picture, especially as a sadhu with his vibhuti and sindoor, and everybody is saying that this is racial and he has no business to put up this obviously a great leader. I think Navarro, like Trump, has gone completely berserk. He seems more a loony clown rather than an economist. He did good stuff, but I think he's going down the hill and continuing to blow the message that India is using the Russian oil sales for funding Russian war. The other important thing is that there is a SCO summit, and there is also Prime Minister Modi's visit to Japan. And I think that's a very positive development in terms of India-Japan coming together. India-Japan bilateral trade, though, has been in existence for time immemorial. It really needs to step up momentum, and I think that's what they're trying to do. There are 2 important things that we'll conclude with. One is, lo and behold, India not only bought highest, oil from Urals, from Russian Black Urals, but it also supplied the highest amount of diesel, which actually, powers, Ukraine's war. So in July, shipments were around 15.1% of the total, and I think Slovakia comes 15. The usual people who support Ukraine, like Turkey and Estonia and Lithuania and European nations, make up the rest of the number. So it looks like, India is quite generous in supporting all sides, under the pretext of, or whatever you may want to call it, as a good Samaritan, which is to say, you need help, we are willing to help. And finally, I think that we'll conclude with the Sree Iyerji's favorite subject, which is namely, is France and UK bankrupt? Are they ready to go with a begging bowl to IMF to get themselves bailed out? I have a view, and I think that their economies are not in great shape. Their debt to GDP is not in great shape, but given the size of their economies, having that kind of debt to GDP has detrimental kind of effects. this is the important data point that one needs to remember. Markets perform different to the way that governments manage their balance sheets. The month of June and July and August, both the US markets and the European markets performed exceptionally well, and notably the banking stocks, and they were on the uptick. But when you look at the performance of the government, it is quite abysmal in terms of their usage of the funds. So are they going to with a begging ball? We'll discuss that at the end of the show. So
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah.
So let's jump right in. We have talked about the growth of the GDP, and we'll have some charts, viewers, to tell you relatively where India is with respect to other countries that is coming. Small request to all of you to like this video. We take Sree Chitala's hangouts take us about a 24-hour time to prepare them, because too much is boring, too little is not enough. So we have to get that right spot, and we believe we do that thing. And a small request to all of you, just like this video and watch till the very end. Let's jump right in. Q1 GDP, where did the big growth drivers in the Indian economy come from, sir?
Great. I think if you flip this slide, if you
yeah,
next one.
So this is okay. I think
next one.
Next one, please.
Next
one.
Next one. Yes.
Yeah. That was the drivers of India's growth.
Yes. The previous slide.
Yes.
Yeah. So where did the growth come from? Very strong at 7.8 now. The central bank projects growth to be at 6.8 to 7%. Remember, the projections has been 6.4 to 6.5. Then it was pulled back to 6.2%. Notably, when the 25% penalties was imposed, making total duties at 50% or tariffs at 50%. But now, after the FY26 first quarter numbers, the GDP has been pushed back upwards to 6.8 to 7%. Even if they finish at 6.8, that's a very good number. Why is it? Because rising private investment is not the government investment. That means the private capital is being invested to harness the economy. So that's the first kind of positive direction from where it's not government capital, it is private capital that is driving the investment upwards. Very positive consumer sentiment. This is very important for people to understand that it's only the positive consumer sentiment which drives the buying behavior. There seems to be very clear evidence of the consumer sentiment. Now, other notable factor, there is also growth in the rural demand. The rural, constitutes close to 50% of India's GDP. So when the rural growth happens, then that automatically translates towards the upward tick in the momentum of the GDP. Then manufacturing also grew, relative to the corresponding period of the last year. And obviously, there's a lot of both domestic consumption and there's a lot of exports going on, most notably in the mobile telephony. And you saw the diesel exports that occurred in July. So therefore, that is another kind of the driver of the uptick. Services continue to move forward. Remember, both services and some of the important manufacturing elements are exempted from total kind of this imposition of the penalties. So therefore, that's continuing to sustain the growth in the GDP story of India, Sree. So all important sectors, manufacturing, services, the demand in consumption from the rural side, private investment, etc. Look, fiscal and monetary tools, as we talked about it, the government could use fiscal and monetary tools to give it the impetus should there be a shock emanating from the tariffs. We are not yet in that stage. Who knows? By the time we come to the next couple of shows, we could have a resolution on the tariff situation as well.
Sir, these are the numbers, and I think somebody was asking what is the projection for the rest of the year. I think you have already given that. It is going to still continue to grow at the same number, if not a little bit less than that. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, the projected annualized GDP number is 6.8 to 7% by the Central Bank of India and the national statistics or the government statistical. The Bank of Baroda projects the projections to be at 6.5 to 6.7%, and IMF itself has revised the projections to about 6.5. And again, as I mentioned, these 2 points I'd mentioned, the positive signals from the CEA that tariffs will taper, and positive sentiments from Scott, which is to say the largest and the oldest economies, largest democracy and the oldest democracy cannot be fighting with each other, and we'll find a resolution. Sree.
Sridharji, should we hint to our viewers that there could be a resolution about the free trade agreement between India and the US very, very, very soon? Has been talked about for a long time, so people are, well, we'll believe it when we see it. But what are the signals you are getting from both DC and New Delhi, sir?
I think the earliest is October. October. It's not going to happen next week. It's not going to happen in September.
And that means it's measured and deliberate and step by step and line by line, isn't it?
Yeah. So they will get it done by October. And this is with or without Trump visiting India. Trump has just said that he will not be attending the Quad summit in New Delhi.
Yeah.
So can bypass. I think Scott Bessent and Modi and 𝗟𝗡𝗅 𝗍𝗍 and the rest of the team will kind of get that completed, because they got to get these two. India is one of the largest trading partners, and there are a lot of strategic engagements between India and US. I think India just also signed, I don't know the exact defense equipment. They just signed $1 billion order with United States, buying their machinery. So I think there is a growing kind of internal pressure for Trump to change his course, and I think Scotty Bessent will. Scott is a great player, so I think that he will make this happen, but it will be October when it is done. Sree.
Thank you, sir. Let's take a look at what has been going on as far as Peter Navarro is concerned. We're trying to understand this fellow. See, as a Sanatani, and you are a Sanatani Jew, Sridharji, we respect all religions. And to try and give some subliminal messaging of a picture of Modi in bhagwa color, saffron color, and wearing tripund and sindoor sounds a little cheap, sir. I mean, I'll tell you one thing, yours. You go and look at some of the press conferences Caroline Levitt holds. You can see the cross prominently hanging around her neck. Same with Pam Bondi, you can see the cross. We had the occasion where, when the start of Lent, which is a very important day for the Catholics, you saw Marco Rubio wearing X, kind of an ash symbol on his forehead. That is a very religious Catholics do wear that. So these are all symbols of their practice of the religion, and everybody should respect that. So I'm trying to understand why Navarro used that specific picture, Sridharji.
Well, I think there are two answers to your question. One is, did he put up, or now we have so many fake handles which are very keen to, they took his words, but they put this picture and put it up. That's one theory. I haven't connected with people in his circle. This is the picture we are talking about. And I haven't connected, but by the time we get to the next show, we'll confirm it to our viewers. The other thing is that he is a known chaotic, eccentric guy in terms of his approach. We saw that in 2020, and he was bashed up very badly by the Democratic leadership once they came to power. He can be quite eccentric, but continuing to launch this tirade that India was, using Russian oil to fund India was using the foreign currency earned from United States to buy all that oil and fund Russian war machine is, I think, far-fetched and far-sighted. And I know Trump picked up the momentum and said, they're buying a lot of things, they're doing a lot of things with Russia, and we are buying lots of things from them, but they're not giving us. That is okay. You can go down that line, but the line that Peter Navarro has taken has been taken apart by social media, including many people from his own party, which is the Republican Party. It is far-fetched in terms of using that type of an image in conjunction with his statement, Sree.
Very true, sir. Next one, please. So this has been covered. This has been covered. This has been covered.
The previous
slide, please. Yeah.
Previous, one more. This is important because this is where this slide is going to be played again and again by the Indian ecosystem, because if you take a look at the GDP growth for the quarter, USA is at 2.3% and India is at 7.8%. Agreed, it's on a different base. Okay, but for Trump to stand up and make, very similar to Navarro, a stupid statement, which is to say it's a dead economy, they're going to go to kind of helter for skelter on this number, this chart. This is a chart that is going to be spewed up very soon, or if not almost now, to state, hey, this is not dead. And there is a party in India which also talked about Indian economy being dead, and I think that will also get its mouth full, by virtue of this sort. So what it also says is that the Indian ecosystem, Indian producers and consumers have been undeterred to the world's noise that has come out from United States. 10 countries, this will also come out, have stood by with India to state they support India and the Indian growth story, and they're going to do more with India, unlike United States. Australia is one of them. Remember, Australia is a very big ally of United States. Australia, Japan, Germany, France, UK, then South Africa, Russia, China, then who else? There are two more nations. Doesn't come to my mind which are the two other names. Korea and Indonesia, right? These are big economies. 10 nations have come out and stated that they are with India, which is another big rebuttal. And you'll see many of them in this kind of the economies, which is in this chart. And Germany contracted at 0.2%. But many of the countries that you see here, barring USA, have endorsed support for India, and many of them have already signed FTAs with India. Very important point to kind of observe. Okay, now we move past this chart, Sree.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now let's take a look at the current visit that Modi undertook. Before going to SCO, he was in Japan. A lot of things were done, 6 agreements and 7 memorandums of understanding. I've been given to understand that there is going to be bullet train from the capital of Andhra Pradesh to Hyderabad, to Bengaluru, to Chennai. So Chandrababu Naidu knows how to take this thing to the next level. He's already come out and said that these are all the things that are going to happen. Sir, talk to us a little bit. Where is going to be the origination point? Amaravati, Vijayawada, where, sir?
Hyderabad to your place, Sree.
with Naidu, he can even put a bullet train from Hyderabad to Silicon Valley, sir. Nothing is impossible.
Of course. So Hyderabad is the old Chandrababu Naidu city. He still speaks with a great sense of pride. He eventually had to give up and he had to choose Amaravati. Remember, now it is Telangana rather than Andhra. And so it is going from, the train is going to be from Hyderabad to, I think they've got all the clearances to go to Chennai and also to Bangalore, which is needed. These, Telangana and Bangalore, Karnataka and Chennai are in the top 6 or top 7. At least Chennai and Karnataka are in the top 5 of the national economies by GDP. So it's very, very obvious that bullet train is a sign of economic affluence and economic prosperity. So he's choosing the right line. Japan knows India as good as any other nation. They have been long-standing partners and they have played a significant role. And Japan has also got automotive industry and besides the electronics. So therefore, I think they are asking Japan to collaborate in quite a few areas, most notably electronics, semiconductors, clean technologies, general manufacturing. They've been very slow. They've not, but they want them to step up in the manufacturing and human resources. Apparently, India is going to send some 500,000 people to Japan, and then they're going to have some 50 to 75,000 people from Japan coming across and working. So there is a, that Japan suffers from demographic problems. They have a very, very aging population. Their immigration is very, very abysmal. So this is a much needed move, and they have placed the trust in India in terms of movement and exchange of people, so that they can slowly augment the skills that are needed to keep the Japanese economy flying. They have not stopped there. They have the Japanese industry, which put close to $4 billion, $20 billion over the past 2 years, is committing $10 trillion over the next 10 years. I think that's roughly about $65 billion or $70 billion. They're putting $10 trillion in sectors of manufacturing. There is also a joint declaration was made. Remember, Japan has a 2+2. Japan and India do a 2+2 biannually, which is namely, one is a defense minister, one is the minister for external affairs. They meet their counterparts and discuss both defense and affairs of mutual interest in foreign affairs. So therefore, both they signed a declaration, India, Japan signed a declaration and agreed, especially sharing of intelligence, on defense and security related matters. This is continuation of Quad, whether Quad survives or not. All very positive from the Japanese side. As we kind of complete this show, I think there's also positive momentum coming from China, but I am not an optimist that India, China somehow is going to everything iron out their differences, given the historical problems that India has had with China. So we'll talk about that in the next show on the Chinese side. So very positive. What was expected was achieved. Modi spoke at length and with passion in Japan. And this is a direct message to United States. We will soon be the third largest economy. We are the fastest growing economy in the world, and we have been. And I think I talked about the other 2 points. We have well-organized capital markets. So industries, Japanese industries, if they choose, they can list. And we have a growing manufacturing sector where Japan can participate and benefit from as a result of sluggish demand in other sectors, other areas of the world. But India gives Japan an opportunity to invest and grow in the manufacturing sector of India. So again, all of this data is, you can see some of the data we have presented. It is the Japan last quarter grew at 7.8%. It contributes, we'll see the next slide, it contributes significant part of the GDP. This is the slide. If we take a look at that, I think we may have shared this. In the 25 to 30, who are the major contributors of to the aggregate GDP? Obviously, China stands up at 23%, and India is at 15.2%. It is greater than United States. Remember, United States has a large base, but despite that, the aggregate volume of GDP that is going to come is going to be 15% that India will contribute. It's a very laudable number. This is what gives Modi ji the confidence in terms of saying that countries in the world come and do business with us and be with us, despite what the erratic Trump has to say.
Next one, please, sir. This is the most kicking thing. I don't know where Peter Navarro is going to go for hide his face. Over to you, sir.
I think, including Trump, which is to say, hey, you are funding the Russian machinery. Now India is saying, well, in July, we were the largest contributor, 15.1% of diesel. Remember where diesel is used? It's used in all of the tanks and all of the war machinery that for which Ukraine requires the supply of diesel. So not European nations, but it is basically India which gave it highest volume, 15.1%, Slovakia 15%, Turkey, around 12 to 13%. Then you have smaller countries like Lithuania and Latvia. They also gave, and some of the other nations which export diesel. But so here Modi is saying, you wanted me to fund Russia? You thought that we are funding Russia? No, we're not funding Russia. Russia funds itself. Russia has got enough kind of, black Urals and the other stuff. Well, when Ukraine needed, we have given them the supply. But there's another geopolitical issue that is going on here. Now, Mr. Zelensky is no longer talking about United States intervening and helping in the resolution of this war. He's talking to Modi, Prime Minister Modi, on how to kind of bring this to an end and how to bring about a resolution. He believes that Trump is not going to solve the problem, notwithstanding the fact that Trump just signed an order for close to $800 billion or 800 million. I mean, it's a large number that he signed off on supplying defense equipment. So this is what prompted many people, even within the Republican Party, to say this guy is not about salvaging the brand and taking United States in its right course, but it's more about kind of making money on either side of the ledger or either side of the transaction. So again, if Modi is supplying diesel and Trump is supplying them with machinery to fight the war, Sree.
Sridharji, to your point about how the funding into Ukraine is being spent, there are credible rumors, there are allegations, of course, of $50 million every month being salted away by Zelensky in unnumbered bank accounts in the United Arab Emirates. This is the allegation. I don't have proof, of course, but you have to look at the channels who are very correct in the past about their predictions. That's how I make my guesses. That's why I'm still saying these are allegations that this fellow is siphoning off a lot of money, and it's not going into the war effort, but it is going into the pockets of some politician. So we don't know how much is the kickback in the American side. So point I'm trying to make is these are huge numbers being gobbled up. I had a very interesting discussion yesterday with Congressman Raja Krishnamurthy. One question that I asked him was, he was saying that, the Trump is, benefiting all his, family members, meme coin, the day after he takes oath, he's doing that. So I basically told him, sir, I'm an independent. I'm looking at this from, for a pro-American perspective. You say that Trump's family members are getting benefited, but when I try to ask questions, they are saying, look, the Democrats have built a huge war chest in the last 4 years. And then I turned around and asked him, what about Hunter Biden? What did the Democrats do? You guys gave him a pardon. I said, I'm just looking at the data and I'm asking you the question. How do you answer that? And he was very honest. He said, I don't know. So, I also don't know what to say, sir.
Well, I think that from Zelensky's war chest of cash, again, I think we covered this in DGI in the tail end of the Biden administration. The number of beneficiaries who are supposed to have got money, Sree, from Nancy Pelosi to and so on and so forth. By the way, included in that are few Republicans.
Yes.
Starting with Mitch McConnell. So therefore, yes. Big number. There's a big number. And in fact, I think the rumors at that time was that the Biden administration was trying to curtail because they have not got their money that was promised as part of the deal. So this all seems to be this political haggling that is going on. And there is a lot of credible rumors that Trump is, trying to align with Pakistan, not for anything, but to make sure that, his family benefits from all these crypto trades that people are talking about. So never mind. I think you've asked the right question to Raja Krishnamurthy ji, and I think you've got the answer, which is I don't know. But this story and saga will going to transition to France and UK, Sree.
Yes, yes, that's a big one today. Let's take a look at that one. So viewers, I have been, before we see, this is a complex hangout, because Sridharji and I constantly go back and forth sharing data and perspectives to absolutely make sure that those of you who are watching get the best amount of picture about the whole thing. So Sridharji's argument was that France would not go to IMF seeking a bailout, rather it would go to EU, and EU may be able to bail France out. So I don't know the rationale for this. I was merely quoting a story from Telegraph, and that link is there in the reference section, in the description section in the video. You can go and read that article, because I have some numbers here, Sridharji. I'll just quote that. The national debt of France as it stands today is euro 3.3 trillion, or 3.86 trillion in US dollars. The French debt to GDP is 116%, and UK, which is believed to be the next in line, is at 103.9%. Éric Lombard, the finance minister of France, is the one who made the statement that France needs to take an IMF bailout. Otherwise, they are in serious danger of becoming bankrupt. We also know that Macron is running a minority government, and essentially he has stolen this election, in my opinion, because they have not only pushed out the right-winger Marine Le Pen, they've also banned his party, if I remember correctly. Germany is wanting to do the same thing with AFD. Look, this is not democracy. I'm looking at this, so many different things happening. What is the big thing that they are all trying to hide? So this is where my statement, sir, is. I'm just quoting people. 3-4 days ago, this came on YouTube, and that's where I picked it up. I asked Congressman 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 that, do you know that France is seeking IMF bailout? And he said, I did not know. I mean, fair enough, because this was 24 hours ago and things had not become clear. This article came just, I think, 6-7 hours ago. Yesterday evening, India, my time, we did a program that was 10 a.m. in India. We did a program in Hindi. We talked about this article also. Sir, you think that it's not IMF, but it might be EU that might come to the aid of France. Tell us a little bit about why you think that is the case. But also, if, see, 123% of GDP is not a big deal, sir. Japan is at 245% or something like that. So I'm also saying all the data. I'm not saying anything. So why France? Why now? Over to you.
Right. I think that if you look at the what you call as the league tables of this debt to GDP, well, we have forgotten Italy. Italy is around 137%, and they're not running with a bailout and run by a conservative lady. They're not running to IMF for a bailout. There's a lot of garbage. I'm sorry to use the word that happens in the press. Firstly. Well, you stopped with France. You didn't go further, Sree, which is to say they think that UK is next in the line to go for the bailout along with France to IMF, right? Because it's also in that 107% number. The economy is not doing great. First and foremost, France is running a minority government, okay? And usually they have this September ritual. So when they will try to get through many reforms, notably tax reforms, labor reforms, etc. None of that is going to go through, okay? Because you have got a central left government, and you have to get a majority, you need to get some of the right and center right. They're not going to get. So the government is going to fall, okay? And that's not a surprise. The French governments typically fall and they wake up. So that's the first part of the story. The second part of the story is, who is the lead shareholder in IMF? United States. United States is the lead shareholder with a close to 17% vote, or 16.5% vote. Then when you look at the other countries like Japan, and they're all 5%, 6%, etc. To get any major decision or policy matter out, you need to have 85% majority, otherwise it's a veto. One vote, just by one vote, that United States can veto. Macron and President Trump are not in the kind of best terms. So therefore, he may demand something more from France. So I believe that France will not go to IMF if they really need money, which for them to ask for money, they really need to have a government in action and a government that has a majority to get past the French legislature, right? So therefore, if they need to go, they will be going to the euro, where they have better chances of getting 100% approval and getting whatever money that they need from a bailout point of view, okay? Whether it is France. Now, UK is in a different situation. UK has no mechanism to go to euro, which is one of the reasons why they surrendered, complete surrender to United States in terms of their free trade agreement, and UK became the first country to concede everything and also surrender itself, recognizing should they need a bailout, they will then go to IMF or United States and seek aid. I see UK going towards US, but not towards UK going towards IMF and not France going towards IMF, Sree, based on this data.
Okay, so there is a problem. Euro has a problem. Viewers, there are lots of things that are being discussed. For example, one of the things that's being discussed is, and I'll say 2 or 3 things, and then there's a very important disclosure about who else Modi has met in China. I'll come to that in just a moment. And viewers, you will get a reference link in the description section. I request our editor to add that reference link about who else Modi has met in the description section, so you can read about that. Sir, the allegations that are made, again, these are allegations. See, what happened was in 2022, when Russia entered Ukraine, a lot of sanctions were imposed. A lot of the Russian funds in various countries was frozen. Yes, this is a known fact. I mean, that's what happened. Now the story is emerging that perhaps some of these countries have dipped into the assets, frozen assets of Russia in their banks, and they have used it for their own local consumption. This is an allegation, but the numbers are huge, close to $300 billion if you take the Europe as a whole, and these are different countries. I mean, these are all some of the reasons why perhaps Putin is quite upset. I mean, again, these are allegations, viewers, but usually there is no smoke without fire. There is something that has happened. So that, I mean, this came in the news also. So this is something that is not only specific to Russia, but it is believed that even Iranian assets, I think you said this thing today, they have also been touched upon by these countries. Sir, this is not right. I mean, we are going so far away from Westphalian consensus that once this thing settles down, a lot of people are going to be unhappy. Sir, over to you.
Well, I think there are a lot of rumors flying around, Sree, and there are fairly okay. Let me kind of putting on a banker's hat. There are 2 types of assets. There are assets which are seized and taken and basically said that these assets are now not accessible to the asset owner. Okay, and those assets sit in an institution and in some mechanism that those assets can be accessed. Now, frozen assets which are seized, kept in abeyance, and not absorbed, it's like taking possession. You can't take, they are kept in abeyance and they are kept frozen. So Russian assets, I am not willing to believe, based on everything that I know as a banker, you can't. And Europe continues to trade with Russia for natural gas. So you can't have it's forget the morality. There's legally it can't be. It's not possible. So therefore, I think that the Russia part of the story, Iran part of the story, wherein they were in clear violations, and those assets frozen has been seized and impounded, that you can basically have access. It's quite possible that some of those assets have been taken and used. But I'll be shocked and surprised that if they were used either of any of the European governments for funding their own balance sheets, I'll be very, very surprised and shocked, Sree. Okay. There are a lot of things that the banks can do, and through the banks, the political system can do. But to fund government balance sheets, I very much will be surprised. Now, I've not seen it in my 45 years in global banking. I've not seen it. So there's a lot of rumors fly, and we're now living in a world of AI-driven rumors and AI-driven fake handles and AI-driven kind of messages, Sree. That would be my answer.
Thank you so much, sir. Many questions about our Sengol. This is the Sengol with the enclosure. Have you got your own? And you can pre-order now. You will be getting them in 15 to 20 days. We are in full production right now. Also, there is one other thing that happened. Modi ji met with somebody very influential in the Central Politburo of China. And this person's name is 𝗏𝗍, 𝗏𝗍𝗍𝗏. And we may have a picture of him. Maybe we can bring up the tweet where this has been officially acknowledged. And 𝗏𝗍 is considered to be very close to Xi Jinping. It also tells you that even though there have been rumors of Xi Jinping being unseated, looks like somehow he has got a semblance of control. That's not the only person he met. He also met with 𝗏𝗍𝗄 of Maldives. Let's leave that thing aside for a moment. Here is the picture. He's meeting with 𝗏𝗍 in Tianjin, China. And this guy is considered very close and very influential as far as Xi Jinping is concerned. And if Xi Jinping is forced out, chances are that he might succeed. These are all people's names that are coming. So again, Xi Jinping faction and the other faction, these are all back and forth. You can watch many YouTube videos which all said that this and that and that. So just wanted to tell you that this has happened today. It also tells us a little bit that Xi Jinping appears to be still in at least some control. There are other people who are saying that, look, the military is no longer listening to him, listening to a general and so on and so forth. We just thought we will let you know this is official. You can go and read that link. It's provided in the description section. So that's all we have for today, sir. If you would like to add something, then we can do that and then wrap up.
Yes. The wolf. Remember the wolf?
Yes.
Dr. David, who is the wolf, Sree? Dr. Wang Yi. Now, who did Dr. Wang Yi go and meet in New Delhi? He flew to New Delhi before the SCO summit, and he met full court. And who is Dr. Wang Yi close to? Ajit Doval.
Ajit Doval. Yes.
And Ajit Doval and Mr. Dr. Subramaniam Jaishankar. Okay. They had a full court meeting in New Delhi. Prime Minister of India with the foreign minister. He's not the foreign minister. He is a very, very influential wolf within the CCP party. So some of these meetings are happening as a result of the wolf footprint. Sree, again, you can see he was there with Xi, and I'm sure he was playing the stuff. But again, once again, it's quite remarkable as to how the Indian duo is helping and aiding, and this level of reach and contact is only possible, with people of such caliber sitting within the Indian administration.
Yes, indeed. And this whole mystery, who is Pakistan's master, shall continue. We still don't know. And he himself has made a very interesting statement. We all know what that is, that he sits with somebody, he stands with somebody, and he sleeps with somebody else. Let's leave it at that. Thank you so much, Sridharji. If there's anything else you would like to add, please feel free. Otherwise, we can wrap it up now, sir.
Thank you, G. Thank you. If there are any questions, we'll take some questions. Otherwise, we can wrap it up.
The questions are all over the place, so let's just leave it at that and let's just wrap it up, and we'll be back again. I think we are going to have an interim session very soon in the middle of the week if the necessity is there. Sridharji and I are discussing that. We will know 2-3 hours ahead of time. Do join us back for that. Thank you so much, sir. Namaskar.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful long Labor Day weekend, Sree ji.